Hello, my fellow gaming tankers, and I return to you at the beginning of the 2026 World Tanks Modern Metal Fest. And my displeasure with this season continues, because Five Finger Death Punch is an American hard rock band that's been around for 20 years, so yeah, I guess they kind of fall under the whole continued dad rock that wargaming can't get out of. And not my cup of tea. I don't like Five Finger Death Punch. They have a few good songs that make it to the radio, and then it's kind of they have a simple formula that's slowly been degrading over time, I guess. I don't know. I prefer a more complex musical arrangement, and Five Finger Death Punch, like I said, yeah, they made it to the radio. Bad Company. Yeah, that's probably one of their biggest hits, and it's also a cover from the band Bad Company. So anyway, let's take a look at this. So, and even as you could say I'm a wargaming shill. How long have we been doing this? Am I good? Yeah, we're almost at 2 minutes. I don't give a shit about these tanks. We got an Air 1. We do have, alright, the Iron Fist, which I now realize in my previous video talking about how playing ATGMs like artillery was kind of the way to go. I didn't realize I was almost had half a thought of what Wargame was doing, because the rocket barrage that this tank can achieve, it's like a multi-weapon system that has artillery viewing. When you aim in with when you go to the artillery and you aim in, it's artillery. I was like, oh, that explains some of the rocket dispersion and the whole dispersion. I'll say that for my next video, because yeah, I don't know if you want to see him copycatting Ricky, but he's got another ATGM video. I'm gonna have another ATGM video, but it's not gonna be the same complaints. It's sadly more speculation. But anyway, cosmetics stuff. Only 2D commanders with voiceover something, I think. Oh, whew, wow. Knucklehead. Considering the detail, I don't feel like a lot of time was spent on this. I really don't. In 2D commanders, I'm holding out hope that the second act to follow Five Finger Death Punch is better. I don't know. I'll try to avoid being political here. I know Five Finger Death Punch has a fan base, and they are an all-American fan base. I do know this band has fans around the world. They will be touring next year in Europe and stuff, so it's not all American, but yeah. If a certain president was a bit more younger, he probably wouldn't be playing YMCA for his intro music. So this time around, I'm trying not to come off as like a heavy metal purist, because I'm not, but I watched today's horror gaming stream and I was like, oh yeah, we're giving away two people can get one of these tanks, or any of the tanks. The two, I didn't care. I didn't even bother entering. Oh. I need an adult fizzy beverage, so. I mean, if Five Finger Death Punch is your jam, and you're a fan of this game, plunk down your 30,000 gold. Kind of. I knew I shouldn't have busted out the wall and got another 25,000 gold. Just in case this happened. Trust me, if I had been a little more quick in my videos, I would have actually been joking about how I hope it's not Five Finger Death Punch. It makes sense, though. I'm not saying they're cheap. I'm just saying that their career is not at its high point anymore, so they might be more open to deals and publicity that doesn't involve possible prison time for their lead singer. We all have our sins, so I'm not casting stones. But anyway, more has come out too, because Metal Fest others have come back that I'm semi-interested. I have pretty much everything here already. Rob Zombie's back with the Dragula. More on that in a minute here, but what I will procure, I will snag myself another Rob Zombie commander. Okay, yeah. Tempest Fusion. Not the 2D. And obviously Lemmy, because Lemmy is God. Rest in power, Lemmy. And of course, Warpig doesn't do so much grunting and growling as Eddie does. That's why I'm no interest. As I thought about it for a minute. I gave it a minute of thought. I was like, do I want another Eddie commander? I'm like, 3D commander. I'm like, nah. As far as the AMOLED goes, protect your hull. I'm not sure if I'm going to snag it. Maybe I will here. The cosmetics for the Rob Zombie package is sort of interesting. Some of these designs, very reminiscent, especially like that one with like White Zombie. So, a bit nostalgic, even though White Zombie, I guess like Rob Zombie was pretty popular in the 90s, and I was just a child in the 90s. It wasn't until the 2000s when I discovered Zombie. So, I don't know. And they're cosmetic vouchers. I haven't even used the ones I got from the last Metal Fest, so we'll see. That might be for later. Oh, whoop, button mashing here. Take a quick peek at offers. If I had a choice between the 8,000, was it 8,600 Dragula and the Martyr VTS one, I'm biased, you know. I have a penchant for the Eastern Alliance, aka Soviet tanks. So a Martyr. It's Era 2. You can make it work, but and then a whole bunch of combat cards I already got for why? They're new players. They're an influx of new players, possibly for Metal Fest. I don't know. I haven't checked the articles. I'm sure some Hard Rock and Metal Rock might have some thing on this, but I don't feel. I'm sure. I just don't know if Five Finger Death Punch even has the cachet as Kiss. No, I kind of view this as like Whole Metal Fest is like, all right, if I were to go to one of their concerts, I would get it. I don't want to see Five Finger Death Punch in concert. So, if they're your jam, try not to skip leg day. Okay? You can do hard things. Anyway, I've got some replays here, and we'll talk about the Dragula, which I suggest you consider getting. Not so much a recommendation, but I'll talk about that more in detail. Alright, see you in the replay. So here I am on Siegfried Line, which, if you're new here, I don't like this map. I don't like it in Era 3. I feel it's too small. But it is what it is. And I realize I've gone a little bit too long. So, hey, like and subscribe if you live the metal life. Comment down below. What is your favorite metal band? But anywho, here we are in Siegfried Line. Now, I have 2 back-to-back matches. That, full disclosure, you know it. I know it. It's not a secret that anyone who posts their clips or videos online, they're cherry picking. They will show the best matches, the matches where they're most likely MVP, unless it's such a horrible match, but it actually demonstrates certain things they'd like to illustrate, flaws in the game, what have you. Then that's the only time they will post a garbage match. So, the Dragula, based off the T-55 AGM, which I look forward to the day when they release the unskinned version of this tank. I haven't played this tank in a while. It's been a minute. I've been busy grinding tank lines and stuff, working on the Leclerc line. So there have been many updates involving buffs to tanks, nerfs to tanks, accuracy changes, what have you. And there was a time, now as I realize and look back on how short a time period it has been, this tank was perhaps one of the better, more accurate Soviet-based tanks in Era 3. You could run and gun comfortably on the move. Now, not so much. But you could also use this tank as a sniper, which I'm pretty sure still at this time, I am using Camo Net in Era 3 on a medium tank. Because I wanted to help improve my ability to spot tanks. You know, sort of slide into that support role. Because this is not an OP tank. A strength it does have is it's a 25% crew XP booster, commander XP booster. And you get 50% silver. So, if you do alright, and even if the team loses, you should at least walk away in the black when it comes to making silver. Now, since this tank has been released, there are some, I'll say 4 caveats. The first caveat, alright, you know it, it's a Soviet tank, so we have poor gun depression of 5 degrees. It's based off a T-55, so hull armor is not quite where you want it to be, especially the lower plate and from the side. And that, if you're asking if those are 2 caveats, no, I'm still considering them 1. At least you do have mobility, which I'm featuring here. You could say, I don't even know if I would say running gun, because you know how wolf packs are in Era 3. So, at least you do have 606 standard AP pen. You go up to under 700 for your premium. You don't necessarily need to run it, but if you are wanting to gold mark this thing eventually, sure, yeah, whatever. Use your premium APFDS. Sorry for the lack of detail. I go by feels around here, so. Mobility is okay, no longer crazy. And that was the main feature of this clip was, okay, you can move. You can keep up with the pack. And provide a support with that. You might be in the back sniping, or you can keep, while keeping a buffer tank in between you, you can help take out a tank with the, you know, circle of death. And I came in first place. Here on Hellfire Pass, this shows more of the reality of this. And it's a much slower match. Much less run and gun. A lot more hull down play, which, like I said, with 5 degrees of gun depression, sweet Jesus. Excuse me, Tank Jeebus.
Not to be blasphemous. Yeah, every little bump, you suddenly are no longer having accuracy. So you always struggle with that, which I'm not sure you might want that, or even if it is at 8,600 gold. Great price. That is still a good price. And if you can, if you're used to Soviet tanks, or for some reason you need an Era 3 commander trainer tank, yeah, this is your jam. Now, the turret armor, very much upgraded over time, can be quite usable. Be careful though, getting penned around the gun can happen. And now here I find myself able to hold down. I get hit, definitely not by that martyr, but I will be keeping an eye on that area going further. I'm not happy to see a 490T and a Malot, two well-armored tanks heading this way. That shot was trying to track the Malot in place and slow it down. You'll be seeing that a lot here. As a support role tank, I definitely try to track tanks. So, that's the caveat, obviously. Standard stuff. Gun depression. Hull armor leaves you wanting. You'll also may have noticed that I'm protecting my right side. I'm definitely keeping my left pointed in the direction of the enemy team, because on the right side, sitting up front, right behind the front plate and lower plate, is the gas tank. Yeah, I've really become more aware of needing to protect my modules. Right behind the gas tank is your ammo rack. So if you get hit by an AT gem or so just about the midsection on the right side, you might lose your top. Lovely. Oh, that Leopard 2A4, it was one of those, you can't quite see the details, so I thought I was hitting the rear of the tank. Nope. That tank was just reversing. Lovely. So what are the other three caveats? Well, there's the T-64B. You now have a tech tree medium in Era 3 that has very decent front armor because of the ERA. And that can be very useful. And AT gems. The other reason, third caveat, you're looking at it, the Osario. If you already have the Osario, you don't need this thing. Unless you're a hardcore collector. The Osario may not be a good crew trainer, but it's a solid tank from the front. It really does play like an MBT. And I think because it's a medium, it just rides that line of being OP. The fourth caveat is the ADATs. Yeah, that premium light tank with AT gems that travel 1,000 meters per second. Yep. Here you never know how much. I probably should have shot that building twice so I could have a clear shot on that Malot, but anywho. So here I am sitting here doing my best to protect my lower plate so I don't be set on fire, I don't lose my top, obviously I'm keeping away, but also I don't want to get tracked. So I'm acting as support, I'm keeping tanks detected, we're trying to track things in place, and again, the usual pro tip. Oh, when you see a little weasel run by you, and I was like, oh yeah, that Malot that I was firing earlier. Yep, this is where the HE comes in handy. I think it's about 125 or so millimeters penetration. Boom. Yay. First kill of the game, 4,000 damage. Oh, where was I? Yeah, the ADATs. Yes, 1,000 meters per second. If you want to talk about, I know some of you slandered me or in other videos, like Ricky's, about how AT gems are just for the noobs and stuff. Yeah, well, when it comes to the ADATs, when you go from tanks that are slinging AT gems at 400 meters per second and then you put them in ADATs with 1,000 meters per second, that's damn near teleporting across the map. As you can see, I tried to track this thumper in place. That didn't work, but we're down to 2 tanks, so I know I'm safe to push out. Try nice leveling here. That shot looked like it went low, but I'm pretty sure I got it. It obviously went right between the gap between the turret and the hull, which can be quite spacious. There you go. Another kill. And that is now the Dragula in 2026. At this price, if you're interested in an Era 3 medium tank crew commander or crew trainer, commander trainer, sure, it will make decent silver, but if you're not careful about keeping that turret towards the enemy in play and using that for your armor, you will not have fun. So, yeah, comment down below. What are your thoughts so far of the opening act of Metal Fest 2026? And what are you interested in or not interested in? Keep your tracks in the ground. Hope the RNG's in favor. I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.